What's up guys, welcome back to Race RC. So we got another review video in front of you today, and what we're reviewing is basically steering upgrades for my / two-wheel drive racer build series. And if you saw the preview video, there are a few things I got. I got the hot racing steering rack, I got basically another turnbuckle, I got some shims for the steering spindles. So I've installed all those pieces, and I just wanted to do a quick rundown on how those are working. I also got some new lighting, so hopefully my truck looks a little better in front of you. Honestly, I think it just kind of makes my pit mat look even dirtier than before, so we'll see how this comes out. But yeah, so basically what I upgrade are a few different things. Number one, hopefully you can see it here. I don't know, it's a little bit hard to see, but I basically added these 0.3 millimeter shims underneath the spindles. I don't know, you can barely see it there underneath that black spindle in front of that blue caster block. But yeah, those are some 0.3 millimeter shims that I'm running basically to take up some slop in the spindles. There's about a 0.5 millimeters of gap, so 0.3 takes up most of that slop while still allowing it to basically turn freely. So nice little upgrade, remove some slop. Second thing I did was basically installed the hot racing steering bell cranks. So these are all aluminum pieces, no servo saver. They've got a nice little carbon graphite basically steering linkage between the two bell cranks, and that uses brass bushings instead of basically just the screw by itself. So hopefully that'll eliminate and kind of keep the steering nice and tight. Been running for a little bit, so there's still a tiny bit of play, but I'd say probably about 50% of the play has been eliminated with those two upgrades by themselves. So those are working out really well. And the last thing I upgraded was basically running a adjustable turnbuckle for the drag link. So if you saw my preview video, basically I picked up this Traxxas part, and it's basically a little turnbuckle with a little hex on it so they could adjust the steering turnbuckle. But the funny thing was that this part actually just, I don't know what it is, but it's not magic and it's not SCE. So if you look at the turnbuckle, I got some calipers here in front of you. That little turnbuckle is like 5.36 millimeters. And then if you go to SAE, it's like 27 1/28. I mean, what is that? It's not metric or SAE. So I actually couldn't find a turnbuckle, sort of hex wrench that would fit properly on there. I ended up using like a 5.5 millimeter, but it was like way too loose. So I actually took that piece off, and I found another part that is working out really well. So I got a Schumacher U4297, and what that is basically a 30 millimeter turnbuckle, which is the same as the stock length, and it uses a 4 millimeter basically hex wrench to adjust it. So it actually fits properly, and it's actually got something I can use a hex wrench on. So 4 millimeter hex wrench, I can actually adjust it. And let's kind of go over why I actually bought this piece. The stock piece was just an aluminum threaded rod. There was no way you could adjust it while it was on the truck. Maybe if you grab some pliers or something, you could do that. But why it's important is because basically when you're setting up your steering, let's kind of talk about that real quick. When you're setting up your steering and trying to set up your radio, there are a few things you got to do in the right order. Otherwise, your steering's not going to work quite right. Your left and right are going to be off like a few degrees or whatever each side. So number one, make sure your steering turnbuckles are the exact same length. So measure that in, make sure they're exact same length. Get them so that they roughly point straight ahead. It's not critical that they're both perfectly straight, but it is critical that they are the same length. So once you got that set up, then the next thing you got to do is basically set your servo horn in your trim basically on your servo, so that basically it points straight up and down, basically 90 degrees from that servo. So that's also critical to do. So now that you got the steering pointed straight ahead and the servo in the right position, then you actually adjust your drag link so the car drives straight. And the reason you do that is you need the bell cranks and everything else to point straight ahead so the car drives straight, and you need the servo horn to be straight up and down at 90 degrees. And then this adjustment is actually how you get the car so that it's set up correctly, so the strings are straight, the bell cranks are straight, the horn is straight, and then now the car drives straight, right? If this is too long or too short, it's going to turn left or right. And the reason you need that servo horn on exactly at 90 degrees is because basically it's kind of going in a circle, right? Servos go through an arc where you turn the wheel left and right. They also go turn left and right, but they don't go straight back and forth. They're kind of arcing. And what happens is, if you got your servo horn straight, then basically the first few degrees, let's say you turn to the 1 o'clock position, that's going to turn the belt cranks a certain distance. Same thing if you go to like the 11 o'clock position, it's going to turn the belt cranks the exact same distance. If you got the servo horn like sort of set at this to go straight, and then your car's going left and right, you'll see that it's kind of arcing, but as it approaches straight up and down, it's turning a little bit less than as it's going to like the 10 o'clock position. So it's not going to turn the same rate left and right. It's going to be sort of quicker on one side and slower on the other side. And so your car's not going to be quite as dialed, really not quite as balanced left and right. They're going to drive slightly differently left and right. So that's why it's important to get an adjustable steering belt crank or steering drag link, and then that'll actually allow you to get your steering set up correctly. So anyways, quick tip on steering. I don't want to do a whole video on how to set your steering. Maybe I will one day, but not today. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the improvements. Less slop. I think the truck will be a little more durable with those pieces. I didn't actually break anything in the steering, but if you watched my last video, I did get hit by a truck on the side of the car. Basically just, I don't know, it like twisted something or something kind of got out of whack, and basically it wasn't turning correctly halfway through the race. The other thing I did was actually cut down the servo horn a little bit. If you saw the last video, it was a little bit taller, and basically I think as it was turning to the right, it was kind of hitting my little drag link here, so it's kind of impeding some of the movement. So anyways, I fixed that and everything's working better. Ideally, your servo horn is actually a little bit shorter than this, and this link is actually just straight across, so everything is kind of at nice 90-degree angles. If you make it a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, what happens is you're going to get a little bit more of a kind of an expo effect, where as you turn it, it sort of accelerates and pushes the steering left and right a little bit more, but not a huge deal, but a small little detail. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for review number 9, steering upgrades. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe as always. Got another review video coming up soon, and anyways, throw down a comment too if you can. Let me know what you think. If you have other suggestions for upgrades, I'd like to hear them. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. Take care, guys. Bye now.